Good morning, children. I hope you guys are keeping well. This session is for the new class of 2021, and the new section class of class 10th and 10th B, and the outgoing children of class 10th as well. So, this is my first class after the winter break. I hope you guys are keeping well. And unfortunately, I'm in a poor reception area. I haven't reached home as yet. So, I'm going to send you a couple of audio clips in the month of February. I'll try to make a video in between. If I can, I can upload it whenever it's necessary. But for now, I think the audio clip will suffice because it's an explanation. So you'll have to go on Google Classroom. I'm going to give you the code and access Google Classroom, register yourself, and then you can access the links. So somehow the syllabus was deleted last year because of the ongoing pandemic, which is still going on. So I'm still not sure about the exact um, volume of the new syllabus with new class. So what I'll do is that I'm just going to start with simpler things like poetry, um, and gradually once I come to know about the exact syllabus, I just want to make sure that I'm not teaching something which will get deleted again. So that is why I started with a simple poem today. The new class and a couple of things that you'll have to do is that I don't take live classes. I've had enough of live classes. So I usually upload videos on Google Classroom, and then you have to access. You need to upload your assignments, your projects, your homeworks on Google Classroom. One of the reasons is because the information gets saved, and it's secure, and people usually do not hack it. So that is why, and it always gets saved on Google Docs. That is why, one of the problems that we are facing right now is security issues where people start hacking other people's account also. So that is one of the main reason. Also, there will be a link uploaded on YouTube also on with my name Tabitha Dana, so you can access that as well. I'm not sure if I can do it today, but if I can, I'll make sure I'll write a note on your class group. So let's get started. What we are doing today is Fire and Ice. Fire and Ice is a beautiful short poem about emotions, about human emotions, and how the poet has very cleverly tried to portray these strong human emotions in the form of a poem. I would suggest, please, when you are listening to this audio, open your book, and what we do in the previous classes is that you always we make notes on the book directly. So you need not to make notes on any other rough copies. Just use a pencil. It will be easier for if you are passing it down to someone else next year also. Take a pencil, and people who have been in my class earlier in lower classes, they know how I teach. So take a pencil and start making notes. Every line, whatever I'm teaching, you have to make notes on your book, and these notes will help you to write in detail whenever you are asked to write your answers. So Fire and Ice is a poem written by Robert Frost. It's a very beautiful poem. I'll just read out the poem. You can just read it in your books. It says that some say the world will end in fire. Some say some say in ice. From what I have tasted of desire, I hold with those who favor fire. So the first stanza says that the poet is trying to say, as I said, that he has used very strong emotions to explain what he's trying to put across in this poem. Before that, I would like to ask you about this word called desire. What is the meaning of desire? how would you put desire in explanation? So, desire, according to my understanding, is a strong feeling, a very, very strong feeling that that is very difficult to, I should say, suppress, to kill. And sometimes these desires and this strong feeling can become dangerous if you're not in a position to control. Unfortunately, we as human beings, we let this strong emotion that God has gifted us with, desire, a sudden want. When you want something desperately and you are ready to do anything at any cost, and you want to go at any length to achieve or to get it. So it's how you desire can be explained in different levels. For a toddler, for a young boy, or a young girl, for a small child, a desire, a strong feeling, want can be for a piece of chocolate. And so sometimes you would want to bribe that child with a piece of chocolate to do whatever you want him or her to do. For a young boy or a girl, like you guys, it can be anything. You can go to any extent to get the latest piece of mobile phone. And if you're given a condition at home, your parents want you to do something, you'll be ready to do that. So that is desire. Desire is um, a feeling which has no end, I should say. It's an infinite want that we have no control over, something like that. So the poet is trying to say that what he has done is that he has compared fire. Some say the world will end in fire. So according to some every uh, person has a different school of thought, I should say. You have different uh, ideas what you follow. And so some people will say that when the earth finishes, in Christianity and Islam, um, the theory goes that the world will end one day. In the same way, in Buddhism and Hinduism, there is something where they say that the end will come, and then you'll be judged for your good and bad. So on the day of judgment, and same goes with Sikhism and other beliefs also. So in the same thought, what I'm trying to portray is that what the poet is trying to portray is that fire can be one of the ways where the air where the earth will end. And the poet is trying to explain that the interior core of the earth will become so hot, and the temperature will rise to such an unbearable extent that it will end up in a catastrophic end. Basically, it means that it will end up burning and finishing everything, whatever life exists on the earth will finish because of this unbearable heat and fire. And this fire will end up burning and eating everything, human beings, living things, plants, vegetation, everything. And that is how this world will end. So, one school of thought says that the earth will end with fire. And the other school of thought says no, it'll end in ice. The temperature on the earth will become so unbearably cold, and the temperature will go with will be below your imagination. It will become so cold, and the temperature will dip so badly that it will be difficult to survive, and people will freeze, human beings and living things and everything, every living thing, flora, including in flora and fauna, animals and plants, everything will freeze and will die. So the second school of thought says that the earth will finish in by freezing. The first school of thought says that the earth will finish by burning. All right, we'll continue. Now the next line says, "For what I have what I have tasted of desire." So Robert Frost is trying to say is that as human beings we experience so many ups and downs and so many things in our life, in our life cycle. whatever life that God has gifted us with, we experience every single day is a new experience. So, in the same way, fire and ice desire also is experienced every single day. I think every single second there's a there's a never-ending want for new things, and and as I said, that every person has different perceptions and different desire levels. Some are very strong, and some can control over this strong emotion. So Robert Frost is trying to put his experience in this poem, and he's trying to say that what I have um, experienced from this human emotion, from this emotion called desire, which the poet has very, very beautifully compared with one of the forces of nature called fire. So he says, "From what I have tasted of desire, I hold with those who favor fire." So he's trying to say that he supports those people who support fire, who think that the world will end by fire, that the world will end with a sudden rise in temperature and everything will end. Try to understand that we are not trying to get into the geographical aspect of environment, but we what the poet is trying to do is that he's trying to portray that why he has compared fire with desire is because desire is a very strong feeling, and he repeatedly is trying to say that we as human emotions, we let this emotion control over us. We purposely let this emotion control us. It's not that there I think what I have come across in my lifespan is that there are very few people who know how to say stop when an emotion called desire comes across. And it's not that you are the only person who is desiring. Every single human being wants more. It starts from a simple desire, and sometimes this desire helps you to achieve things in a positive way. When you have a want and a focus and you want things. But sometimes when this desire becomes unachievable, then human beings um, tend to make it possible in a very dangerous way as well. So desire has no limit. It's an infinite want, infinite list of things, I should say, that you want. You're not happy with the latest Android phone, so you want a better version. Then you want a better version, and this version keeps on going on. So in the same way, it's with every person, at every age, I should say, people cannot control over it. What Robert Frost is trying to explain in this stanza is that we as human beings, if we have no control over these strong emotions, what will this emotion do? It'll end burning us up. That means we'll finish. We'll eat, this desire will eat us in such a way that it'll finish us, it'll kill us. Because as I said, that if you have no control, as fire is uncontrollable, God forbid, if you have ever seen, or even when you are burning something, you can see that it is very, very difficult to control it. You sometimes, even when you're watching these news alerts in television, you'll see that you need a lot of man force to control a natural disaster caused by fire, or a man-made disaster also. But whenever there's a calamity, or there's a problem which has been risen by fire, there's an emergency which has been risen by fire, it is very, very difficult to control over it. In the same way, human beings also are compared with fire, with ice, with fire, and the poet is trying to say that if we cannot control this desire, it is going to eat us up. And whether you support that the earth will finish with fire by burning, or whether you support that the earth will finish by dipping of temperature, the emotion is same, and the end is same. if you cannot control your emotions. The other aspect is that ice has been compared with a very, very strong emotion called hatred. When you become cold, when you have no love, no emotion, no softness, for something, towards something, or towards someone, some person. When you become stone cold, I should say, when you don't feel something. I think that is the best way I can explain it. When you feel something about someone or some creature, some a person or a situation, that means you are very lovable. When something hurts deep within, yeah. But when things do not hurt, when an emotion comes over you, across you, and then you just reflect it, you don't absorb it. And when the day you cannot absorb emotions, I think you are no longer a human being, you are just a robot. As the strongest emotions of human being that we every person struggles to control over, has been taken by Robert Frost to explain that how we will end up killing ourselves or burning ourselves or freezing ourselves. The first emotion what we have taken in stanza 1 very, very cleverly explains that if we what I have tasted of desire, that means what my experience says. I hold with those who favor fire. I support those people who love desire, who love fire. Because he knows that he has ended up burning himself, he has almost killed himself. Killing doesn't mean, in a literal way, killing doesn't mean that he's going to end up killing himself. Killing here means when you have finished your morale, when you have finished yourself as a human being, and you have reached to an extent where you can do anything to any extent to achieve that goal. That is killing. I hold with those who favor fire. And the poet very cleverly supports those people, he says, because I support those people who know what limitless, I should say, what desire and want can do, and they still support it. What we as human beings struggle every single day, knowing that there are targets, and there are things that we cannot achieve, but we still continuously keep on running after it because we do want to achieve it at any cost. That is called desire.